Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to another episode of Karma Cards. I am your host, Therese Tucker. And usually at this point, I have a bunch of updates for you about what's going on with energy and the planets. But honestly, today, I just want to talk. I just want to talk to you. I want to tell you a story that sort of relates to what's going on energetically. And hopefully, if it resonates for you, it brings you some peace. And the reason why is we just had the summer solstice. Let me go back. June 21st was the summer solstice. Now, I have always been a lover of the summer solstice. My little sister's birthday is that day. One of my favorite Shakespearean plays, A Midsummer Night's Dream, is about that day. It's the time where a veil is supposed to be thinner, and it's like the connection with the fairy realms and all this magical stuff. I love the summer solstice. It's big in my heart, and I usually have a great day when it comes to that energy. But this year was different. This year it was like being smacked down and drug down the road behind a very loud pickup truck. I don't know. It just really knocked me out. Energetically, I felt like I went down a rabbit hole and really just felt some deep emotional pain that was going on. And I'm not the only one. I've talked to other people who also felt the intensity of that period of time. Now, for me, it started early. Started around Thursday, which was the 19th, and it went through Sunday. And that's where my story I have to tell you. But it was very emotionally raw period. We are processing a lot. We are moving energy rapidly. We are being doused with light code energy. We're undergoing the transformation, and we are definitely in the liquid goo phase, if you will. If we were caterpillars turning into butterflies, we're in full liquid meltdown mode. And when you get to that point, when just you feel like everything that you're connected to is sort of falling apart, or you're seeing the parts that need the most repair coming up, it just felt out of balance. Usually with summer solstice, I just feel like this energy is so high and beautiful. And this time it felt like everything that maybe I didn't want to look at, or everything that's going on under the surface that really needs to be healed and addressed. It was a catalyst for healing for a lot of people. And there was just energy that was unloaded, and we're going through it. So I want to share with you a story that happened during that time. Because as I went through this story I'm about to share with you, it felt very metaphoric. It felt like it was describing the energy I was going through while I was having this physical experience. Okay, so the story starts with supplements, and I have a bunch of supplements that I take. I try to take them on a regular basis. They're sort of the baseline for, keeping up with my health. And because I'm kind of a fanatic about natural and healthy healing, I've got a lot of supplements. And every time I read about another one where I see all the benefits, I'm like, ooh, and I go get that supplement. One of these supplements that has really captured my attention, and I wanted to make sure I had in stock on hand in case I ever wanted to take it regularly, is black seed oil. Are you familiar with the healing benefits of black seed oil? Can I sell you on black seed oil? I don't know if this story will. This story might make you be like, I don't want to go near it. But black seed oil, they say it cures everything but death. That's how potent black seed oil is. You want to get cold pressed, you want to get organic, you want it in a dark glass bottle, right? Because it's a very potent oil. It's very drawing, and you don't want it drawing from plastic. Anyway, I do recommend it. However, it tastes awful. I don't know how to describe it. Cumin, I think, is black seed oil is cumin seed. And so it's super potent. It would be like taking one of those cumin, powdered herbs, and just dumping it down your throat. Not a pleasant experience. So I'm usually really cautious about how much I take. And after going through this sort of emotional blitz, sort of like an upheaval, and like, here's everything you need to heal, and here's what your ego is doing, and what you really want to be doing, and all of that sort of like shadow work stuff that came up while I was trying to celebrate a great time. And my daughter was having like a ballet recital, and she was like, it was such a great time for her. And for me, I was just kind of having a meltdown on the inside. So usually I'm good about dosing this. I'm aware the black seed oil is potent. And I have it in the liquid form. Rather, there's capsule forms too, I believe, but I have the liquid form. Anyway, Sunday night rolls around. I've been going through all this stuff, processing, and I'm like, I really want to do something nourishing for myself. How can I take care of myself? So I opened my supplement cabinet, and I'm like, I took like making sure I took all my supplements. That was just the thought, I need to take everything. And then I see the bottle of the black seed oil, and I went, oh, black seed. Yeah, I haven't taken this in a while. And we got this brand new glass bottle, the works, right? I got a high end one, and I'm like, I'm going to take some of that. I know it's great, like for your teeth too. Like you can swish it. Like some people swish coconut oil, and it has a lot of like healing and detox properties. And so anyway, I was like, I'm going to just take a little bit of this, maybe swish it for a second and then swallow. And I usually would measure it out, and I didn't. I was kind of cocky, and I thought, I know exactly how far to tip this back. Well, accidentally over tipped it, and a bunch went into my mouth. And instead of spitting it out, I thought, maybe I'm supposed to get this dose. Like maybe I'm supposed to take this. And that's why it felt like it was being sort of like tipped back further. Anyway, so I swish it for a second, and then I swallow all of it. And it was like instant fire going down my throat. Just so much pain. I felt it going up to my ears. I literally could feel it like traveling down. It made me so sick that I threw up. It was so intense. It was like taking syrup of Epicat kind of thing. So throw up. Thought I'll feel better after that. Nope, because it's a heavy oil that coats. And it started to burn. And it burned so bad, it felt like I was having the flu. Like I suddenly felt like my throat was sore. I could feel it in my soft palate, like almost going up into my nasal cavity. I just was like, oh my God, what's going to make this stop? And I ended up like sucking on some lozenges, some honey-based lozenges, and that did help to take it down. But it went on for hours, this constant taste and the burning. And the next day when I woke up, I started coughing, and I'm like, do I have a cold? Like it literally felt like I had a cold. I started coughing, and sorry if this is TMI, but so much mucus came up. Like I didn't even know it was there. I had no coughing, no sniffling, no sneezing before that. It just all of a sudden, all this stuff is like coming out of me. I'm having these coughs that sound really labored, but they're really productive. Like, so I'm having this heavy cough, and then a lot of stuff is coming out. And this goes on for days. In fact, I'm still doing it, and it's been a week since that happened. So for a week, it's varying in intensity. So it started out kind of intense. Now it's like a cough once in a while, but every time I cough, something comes up. So why am I sharing this story? Because I realize like this is a metaphor for this healing process. Like we're actually, like I said, black seed oil is incredibly healing. It is very potent, and it heals you in so many ways. So many ways. I could try to list them for you, but it would be obnoxious for me to read it out loud, because you'd be like, anytime you want to stop, Therese, there's this just huge list of benefits. Anyone who wants to see it, let me know. I'll try to find a screenshot and share it in the comments if I can. It's very healing. It's very good for you. It has really potent property, but it hurt, and it hurt to take it. There was a large dose. Here's the metaphor. Okay, so very healing, takes taking a large dose, which we are doing right now. We're under a very healing energy. Saturn is in Aries. It's working on eliminating false identity, false sense of self. It's working on getting your ego out of your identity and helping you have a more authentic connection to what you really are. That's very healing. We've got Jupiter now in Cancer. This is also healing. This is very much about like expanding your emotional state, your emotional intelligence, going deeper into understanding what you have faith in and things like that. But these are big energies that are opening up. And just like with the black seed oil, it was like too much. We've had a lot of shifting. This year is a lot of shifting. It's like getting a big dose of something really healthy for you. But what you find out is what you weren't aware of that you were holding on. And like I said, I know it's TMI. There was just a lot coming out of my lungs that I didn't even know was there. I didn't know. I knew in the back of my mind, I think, because like I'd have to clear my throat a lot. And I figured it was like maybe something I ate I was having like a sensitivity to, but I didn't really think much of it. And with the solstice, like I said, there was like deep emotional energy, like stuff that was getting purged. And then this black seed oil moment where literally stuff is getting purged. And what's interesting is stuff's coming out of the lungs, and the lungs have to do with grief. And I feel like what's getting healed here for us is that a lot of the things that actually cause us grief, right? Our ego, when it gets in our way, it causes us grief. It causes us pain and suffering. We associate incorrectly when the ego is involved. We misinterpret the signals and the signs. We take things personally. We try to control. We are so focused on protecting ourselves that we unintentionally can hurt others, things like that. So we're so used to having that third density experience, which is ego driven. The third density is the only density that the ego was created for. And you can't take it with you to fourth. And we're in the fourth phase now, fourth density. And we are inside it, but we're having to like mature into it. So if that makes sense. So I want you to picture that the container you are in, right? The earth itself is definitely a fourth density field, probably even able to host fifth density. But we are not quite there yet. We're not quite the match. We're maturing inside the field. These planetary shifts are letting us know, hey, these things, you got to heal them. You got to look at it. If you have some stuff you're not looking at, guess what? It's going to come up so you can see it. It might feel really heavy and it might be really gross to have to deal with, but you're going to feel better. And that's what I mean about like these coughs that I've been having that were triggered by this black seed oil. They have been very productive coughs. Like it's coming out. It's not like something that's hanging out that you just can't loosen. This stuff is coming loose and it's coming out. And even though that's kind of gross, at the same time, I feel better. Every time it happens, I'm like, I feel better. And it was all triggered by this moment of wanting to heal something, right? And getting my wish. It's like, oh, you want to heal something? You're going to heal something you didn't even know you were carrying it around. Like you got so used to its presence that you stopped recognizing it as something off and you just accepted it as something about who you are. And it's the same metaphor for our ego. And again, I do not look at the ego in a negative way. I don't shame it. I don't think it's wrong. I believe it was a gift and a tool, but it has a place and a purpose. And the problem with the ego is because its job is identity, it wants you. It needs you to feel like it has an identity. And in order for you to think you have an identity when you're working through ego, you attach, just like the ego attaches to you. You attach to things. You attach to your job. You attach to your relationship. You attach to your roles in life, parent, daughter, father, husband, you know the drill. You attach to those things as well. So we're attaching to maybe the roles we play in life. Maybe we're attaching to whatever we believe gives us purpose. We're attaching to maybe whatever makes us feel good, and even attached to things that don't make us feel good because they give us a sense of who we are. We got so used to this. No fault of our own, just the facts. We got so used to it, we couldn't tell it wasn't us anymore. Just like whatever has been hanging out in my lungs that I didn't know was there long enough for me to totally dismiss it and assume that I was right as rain. Like, there's nothing in there. And yet a whole bunch. If there was nothing in there, how is stuff coming out and continuing to come out, right? So dislodging ourselves from our ego identity, it takes time. It's not just one thing that we're attaching to. And I think what's really hard about this is, one, no one really wants to lose a sense of identity. And two, what does it look like when we're not attached to our roles and our talents and our careers and whatever else we can attach to? I can't quite tell you because I'm not there yet. I know it's nothing to be afraid of. On a deep level, it's probably going to feel better than we've ever felt. Just like the crap leaving my lungs, every time it does, it's like, oh, I feel better, right? Like, wow, that felt good to get to unload that. So what we got to know is that the healing process has stages, and some parts of the stage feel like hell, feels like fire, maybe internally, or feels like you're going through fire. And then something productive starts happening and you gradually feel better. One of the things I think the ego likes to do, especially an ego that is minimizing. So if your ego wants to take you down, not build you up, right? It's not a inflating ego, it's a deflating ego. One of the things a deflating ego loves to do is to associate your pain or suffering or things not going well with you doing something wrong. Well, you must not be evolving. Well, you must not be advancing enough, because if you were advanced, you wouldn't be having these intense emotional experiences. You would be zen and above it. It would, everybody else could be breaking down, but you'll be fine because you're so enlightened. And it's not true. It's not true. That's just more construct of the ego. I think that we go through these healing cycles, and even if you've done a lot of healing work and are continuous in that, right? You're continuously trying to see yourself, to be conscious and aware and grow. A lot of times when that happens, you're also holding collective energy. So it's like, well, I'm free. It's almost like energetically, we're like, well, I'm free. I can process this. And so we take on a collective type of processing as well. It's important to ask when you're going through those times, is this mine, or am I processing for the collective? And I find that sometimes it's mine, sometimes it's collective, and sometimes it's both. It's like you got a piece of this collective energy in yourself. So while you're processing that, why don't you also take on this awareness for the group kind of thing? So that's my story. I hope that the metaphor helps explain the process. Ultimately, whatever's happening is really good for you. It's really good for you. It's so good for me that I'm probably going to take some more black seed oil, but this time I'm going to use a measuring spoon so I don't have that experience again. But that's how good it felt. Like, it feels so good to be that I'm like, maybe I should do a little bit more. In moderation, of course, but that's the period we're in right now. So with that, let's look at this week's karma cards. All right, if you're new to karma cards, let me quickly show you how these work. I have 3 decks here: planets, signs of the zodiac, and the houses of astrology. And I've already asked my team, what is the message you have for this week? And I am having trouble holding these in one hand. Okay, and I have 3 sets of answers, a set in red, which are action related, and a set in blue, which are outcome related. And the way that you play is you tune in with that beautiful intuition of yours and feel what is the guidance you need most right now. Are you looking for action related guidance? Or are you looking to see how things resolve energetically? And of course, you can always choose both. And while you're choosing, let me tell you the timing for this reading. This reading is for June 29th through July 5th. And the flavor of this reading, okay, so we have the moon. The moon is that emotional energy that we were talking about. So it's all about our feeling state. And also intuition is a part of it too, like letting your feelings show you the direction that things are going in the sign of Cancer. Okay, so this is the energy I was just talking about. Cancer is very intuitive, very sensitive, very focused on the inner world. Can be like, the downside is like that feeling so vulnerable can make you feel insecure. And then we've got the 7th house activated. And the 7th house is all about how we are relating to each other. It's about our relationships, our partnerships, our marriages, and our contracts. So how we are agreeing to show up for one another. Right. For those who are choosing action, your spiritual action at this time is to defend your feelings diplomatically. Yeah. We're going through some stuff. We're feeling it. We're really feeling it. We're feeling it to heal it, to heal it. That's the key. You got to feel it to heal it. You got to go through the burn to get the stuff out, right? Diplomatically is that conscious awareness that yes, you are feeling it, and you might be extra sensitive at this time, or you might feel like things are a bit much, like you need some space to hold this bigger energy. The diplomacy comes in when we recognize that everybody's feeling it. Everybody's under this energy. Not everyone expresses it the same. Those who are more emotionally available, we tend to be right there on the surface. Those who are more emotionally reserved, they'll have a better time like looking like they've got it together. But trust me when I say everybody's feeling it. So it's like we got to figure out how to be like, this is my feelings right now, and I own them, and it's okay for me to be in this space, and it's also okay for you to be where you are and in your space. As long as we remember it's not a me party, it's an everybody party, I think we'll do just fine. Mental action at this time: accept attitudes from the past about relationships. I really think this has to do with the coagulation, the reconfiguration of the ego, right? So we're not making it wrong that we had an ego-led experience in an ego-led consciousness realm. That's not wrong. That's the design. So to accept that is like, I don't need to judge myself. I don't need to punish myself. I don't need to judge or punish others or be hypercritical. I accept that that was the design. That was how it was supposed to start. You're supposed to start with this area because the gift of the ego is a sense of identity. And identity gives you a feeling of autonomy. And autonomy makes you feel like the choice you're choosing is actually your choice. It's not Source's choice. It's not your higher self or all the configuration of all other lives that you lived. It's not a past you's choice. It's this you right now who isn't quite sure if they're connected to past lives or something bigger. Sometimes we even doubt that. The ego is designed to do that. That's its job. Autonomy in choice makes you feel like you're choosing authentically. This is true. It's true to you. And that's the gift of the ego. So there's nothing here to criticize or judge or punish. It's simply accept that that's where the starting of the game was, right? That's the start point. That's what we all do. That's what we are continually told to do because that's sort of the set point. In regards to relationships, it's like how you relate to yourself just as much as how you would relate to another. But mostly what's being reconfigured this year is this complete reconfiguration of self-identification, the self-image, who you relate to yourself as, who do you think you are, what do you think makes you you. All of that's been really heavily worked on this year. So I feel like that's the relationship it speaks of. All right, physical action at this time. Let your feelings tell you how to use your intuition and get a fair deal. Our feelings are our GPS. I love that. It's always helpful to go back to that, especially when you're feeling really strong negative emotions. Your feelings are your GPS. They simply are letting you know. Like if we had a GPS tracker on and our feelings were what it was tracking, when you feel good, when you're in that positive feeling range between like neutral to really positive, that would show you I'm in alignment with what I intend. This is what I intend to be. I intend to be a person with a lot of integrity, or I intend to be a kind person, or I intend to be open-hearted or compassionate. I intend to be driven. I intend to be successful. Whatever the intention that you're setting for yourself, your emotions tell you if you're on the road you say you want to be on or you're off. So the worse the emotion feels, the further away you are from that road you intended to be on. So our emotions are a GPS system. When we are aware of that and we pay attention, when we're having those negative emotions, we want to look to the thoughts. And the thoughts will be our intuitive guide letting us know, like, how am I perceiving this? Because if my perception is making me feel this crappy and taking me that far off track, maybe I need to change my mind about something. Maybe I need to lighten up on how I'm talking to myself. Maybe I need to stop focusing on how certain things are always going wrong and start acknowledging what's going right. There's a lot of redirection we can get. The feelings will lead you to your thoughts. Your thoughts are the things you want to pay attention to because they're creating the baseline for everything. And the thoughts are like, your thoughts act like the rotation of a tire, right? Every thought you're thinking is propelling you forward in a certain direction. The GPS of your feelings tells you if that direction's in alignment with where you intend to go or if it's taking you off course. The get a fair deal part here is, okay, so once we hear our thoughts, now we need to activate our intuition to figure out, well, if this thought is not helping me, what is a thought that would? And just that statement alone is enough of a fish hook, if you will, to really bait your fishing line, your intuitive fishing line. So we're going to drop that into our subconscious mind is, what's a better thought? What thought actually aligns with where I want to be? We drop the fishing line, bloop, into the waters of our subconscious mind, and we take it all the way down. So this is where we contemplate on this thought and let the information come up. You already hold it. That's the beauty of it. That's how you're designed. As that information comes up, that's what you want to adjust to. That will give you a fair deal. That will feel like you're getting back on track and like life isn't as hard and that things are going in a good direction most of the time. Most of the time when we feel like we're not getting a fair deal, we feel like something is not working with us, whether it's people or the universe or ourselves. Something is not working with us and we feel like we're getting shortchanged. We still need to look at our thoughts because our thoughts are coloring our perspective. And if our perspective is one that is just hyper focused on trauma, hyper focused on pain, hyper focused on what you're not getting, then yeah, it's eventually you're going to get off road to what you want because all you're focusing on is the things that make you feel in pain and suffering and small. And this isn't to say that there isn't pain to deal with or trauma to deal with. Part of this work might be, if you haven't dealt with it yet, it is time to deal with it. And yet the core truth here is still the same. It's the thoughts we look at. And if we want to change our thoughts, we can use our intuition to do that by asking ourselves, what is a thought that is more aligned with where I want this to go? Ask the question of yourself and and it's like going fishing. You just sit quietly. The line has been dropped into the waters of the subconscious, and you'll feel that tug when it's time, and you'll have your answer. All right, now let's look at outcomes for the moon in Cancer in the 7th house of relationships. All right, spiritual outcome at this time, the nurturing of intuition to protect balance. Yeah, so intuition is the seeking inside for answers, right? Again, bait the fishing hook, drop the line, contemplate on the question. This is where intuition works incredibly well with smart questions. And this is something that I remember when I had a intuitive, like a mediumship session where Dolores Cannon came through. I see her as one of my spiritual mentors. And I remember like through that session, she said, you need to ask smart questions. And that really landed because it's like, well, what's a smart question? And she pointed out that a smart question is phrased in a way that can give you a productive answer, right? So here's an example of a not smart question, or a non-productive question, I guess I should say. So why is my life so hard? If I bait my fishing hook and I drop that into the waters of my subconscious mind, why is my life so hard? I might get answers back like because it is hard, or because you're making it hard, which, although true, not super helpful, right? Not giving me anything to work with. I'm not asking a smart question. I'm just getting a confirmation about, yep, it's hard. You sure are making it hard for yourself. Truthful, but not necessarily helpful. A smart question, again, would look like, how do I help myself shift out of a lack mindset? How do I help myself shift into an abundance mindset? What do I need to do to shift into an abundance mindset? Let's say that's your question. That's really powerful, because now when you drop the anchor, or the fish hook, I should say, as you drop your fishing line into the waters of your subconscious mind, now your subconscious mind knows exactly what to pull out for you. Right? All the answers already exist, but it's like talking to a librarian. If you're like, I just want a good book, the librarian's going to be like, well, what is a good book to you? When you say, I want to read Atomic Habits by, James Cleary or somebody like that. If you give it really specific information, well, you get a really specific response back. And so we want to ask smart questions to help us to create balance in our life. So if I'm out of balance because my thinking is hyper lack, let's say, but I want to have an abundance mindset, or I want to start seeing abundance in my life, I need to ask myself questions about, how do I shift into that state? And now you can get some good info from your intuition. All right, mental outcome at this time, feelings caused by attitudes from the past about cooperation. Here's what I hear in my mind as I go to the past. I hear cooperation makes it happen. Cooperation, working together, dig it. Do you guys, I'm probably aging myself there, but anyone who's in my age range who watched Sesame Street, that song was probably like drilled into your brain. Wasn't that Sesame Street? Let me know in the comments. Do you know that was Sesame Street, right? I'm like almost 100% sure. The cooperation song is what comes into my head as I consider attitudes from the past about that. So what's the lyrics I just said? Cooperation makes it happen. Cooperation is working together. You dig it? It's super simple. Super simple. How many of you were told like to cooperate with your brother and sister when you were little, right? Like work together. We got to work together. Sometimes I think as an adult, we can get tangled up into a battle of wills. Like cooperation means do what I say. Maybe. If the ego is involved, that comes in, but it's about working together. Physical outcome at this time, reactions resulting from the history of your partnerships. There's a lot to this one. This one's kind of hard. It's like a big one to unpack, so I'm going to try and do it simply. There's a lot of feelings that are going to come up based on what part of you was leading when you met certain people. Also, this has to do with how you work with yourself. Like, do you resist yourself? Do you work with yourself? But also other people. So as we are reconfiguring our self-image, if a lot of our self-image is sort of based on these, again, these roles and what we do or our successes or whatnot, and then we actually start authentically connecting with what's there, something about our behavior is going to change. And that is going, you're going to probably see people responding to that. It's not necessarily negative. It can be positive. It could be a feeling of like, I don't know you because you're behaving differently. Could be that. Could be, it's amazing to see you more relaxed and at home in yourself. Could be that. And then you also having that experience with other people who are also, breaking free from their old self concept and really stepping into more authenticity. So it can feel, maybe, I don't know if disruptive is the right word. It's definitely can cause like a sense of discomfort. One of the things that Cancer does like is to be comfortable, likes to be in its home and its safe space. And if people at home are shifting and changing and getting clearer on what was like a trauma response and what is their actual reality. Like, let's say you were with someone who was really people pleasery, like they had just worked really hard to not have conflict, and then suddenly they're like, you know what, I've never liked blah, and they seem sort of like confrontational. You might be like, what is going on here, right? You could easily misconstrue that as maybe something's happening there. A lot of times when we drop some of our trauma response stuff, it seems like we've changed drastically. We're just getting healthier. And as long as you are in a healthy space where you're aware and conscious that, you're also growing, I think it's easier to handle. I think for people who are more codependent in energy, where they need someone to show up consistently the way they expect them to, and if they suddenly experience a change in that, that's going to create some insecurity. So I sense could be discomfort, but not necessarily intense, aggressive energy. It's more like wounded, hurt energy, if that makes sense. So just be aware of that. This is a tricky period because we're kind of designed to sort of grow at different paces. And that's by design so that one person might be growing and then the other person grows, and it kind of like you can kind of counterbalance each other. But what happens when everybody's growing together, right? Because it's accelerating right now. That might feel uncomfortable. So there's a little bit of uncomfortable energy. It's a great time to meditate. It's a great time to contemplate. It's a great time to ask those smart questions and help redirect your perspective if your perspective is causing you pain. And of course, if you need any help with the process of going through a mindset adjustment or healing and you want one-to-one guidance, I am somebody who can help you with that. There is the link to my discovery call below if that's something you want to explore with me and see how I can help you to not only develop more self-confidence, but deeper trust in your own intuition and your own growth process, and help you highlight what's getting in the way of you feeling in your most aligned state, right? That path that you feel like you're supposed to be on. If it's a path that you're feeling like you're having a hard time reaching, reach out, book a call, let's chat, and see if I'm the good fit to help you through that period. And until next time, thanks for listening to my story. I hope you found it helpful. I'll let you know how the next dose of black seed oil goes. I'm a little hesitant, but also optimistic that good things are happening. So until then, I'm sending you so much love. Mwah.